Ready to soundtrack your summer? With Red Bull Summer All Day Play, you choose a playlist that fits your summer vibe the best. Are you a festival fanatic, a deep end DJ, a road dog, or a trail mixer? Just add a song to your chosen playlist and put your summer on track. Red Bull Summer All Day Play. Red Bull gives you wings. Visit redbull.com/brightsummer ahead to learn more. See you this summer.
Membership means more with American Express Business Gold. Earn 4 times membership rewards points in your top 2 eligible spending categories every month, including eligible U.S. advertising purchases and select media, and U.S. purchases at restaurants, including takeout and delivery. What are you waiting for? Get the card that flexes with your spending every month. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
They say you should learn something new every day. Like how you should only drink Jägermeister at 0 degrees Fahrenheit, ice cold. Like those frozen cavemen they find, which makes you wonder, what would a caveman think of Jägermeister? Well, if you served it warm, he'd probably throw it in your face, say, "Unga boonga," and storm off. And nobody wants that. So drink it cold or not at all. Jägermeister. Damn, that's cold. Drink responsibly. Jägermeister liqueur, 35% alcohol by volume, imported by Mast Jägermeister, U.S., White Plains, New York.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Women's Rugby Treehouse. It's me, Julia, and with me, as always, I've got my pal Hattie. Hi, Hattie.
Hi.
Hi. This week, we are on a down week from the Women's Six Nations, and WER has just started up, so today is going to be Therapy Day, where we talk about things that make us happy, or in this case, mostly not happy, but it's fun to talk about. Hattie, what do we have on the agenda today?
So today, we actually are talking about no rugby matches that have happened, for reasons we will get into. We are talking about dainty lady balls, and we're talking about what we're looking forward to this weekend.
Crowd favorite, dainty lady balls.
Mm-hmm. Just say no.
Just say no to dainty lady balls. Lady balls, fine. Dainty lady balls, we're not doing them. No. What do we mean by, or actually, no, should we start with WER, or should we dive right into ball?
But we will start off with WER.
Yes, let's do something slightly less bad.
Yeah. So WER banned trans people. Boo.
Correct.
Oh, I thought you were going to join
for a long rant about it. See this podcast some time ago.
A few weeks ago.
I will remember which one.
So they did that. It's not gone down well. There's been lots of protests about it from fans and threats of a boycott.
A lot from players.
Yeah. However, this weekend, I think we've really had a true showing of how the players feel. So, first of all, one of the cool things about WER, if you haven't interacted with WER before, it has the very American, North American feel of, they have like an intro. So like the social media people will get them walking into the stadium, like in their training kit before they get ready. Whereas we don't really do that.
They're trying it a little bit, to be fair. Like, yeah, they're trying it.
You get it in international rugby PWR, when they get off the bus, but like,
yeah, PWR likes to do it as well, but that's all like kind of newish.
Yeah, very new. But I think the difference when you're doing, I think in the US, is that like the athletes put on an actual outfit.
Yeah, the fit walk, yes.
Yeah, the fit walk. So interestingly, the teams this weekend, they had like a trans pride sort of red carpet, but it wasn't a red carpet, it was like a pink and blue carpet. A lot of them were wearing like Protect the Dolls t-shirts, they had face paint, they had whatever, signs, things like that, just to say, hey, I don't agree with this. Rugby's for everyone. A couple of them had Rugby for All t-shirts on.
Which is really important, and I'm not going to belabor the point, but I do want to point it out. That is quite different from what you would see in other pro leagues right now. Not to say that I know that players in those leagues don't feel the same way, but the leagues themselves do not allow for that thing. And Hattie and I were talking right before recording that WER seems to be a huge departure as a league that you would think that they would see. I mean, obviously this isn't the dub. They're not going to like sanction them. They're not going to fine them. These girls don't make any money anyway. But But they absolutely could, if they wanted to, crack down and threaten and say, like, if you do this, you're going to be off your roster or whatever. And especially considering that, as far as we know, there are no Eagles in the WER.
Um,
I'm sure the teams know that you really can't lose more people.
I mean, Casey Benson is there, and Colorado long ginger hair.
Uh, Rachel Erke? No,
No,
she's
no,
at
scrum
Loughborough.
half, scrum half. Carly Waters,
Oh,
Waters.
Yeah, Carly
Yeah,
Waters. Yeah,
and Capuana Bailey. But they're
yeah,
like the only
Kathleen
ones I
Bailey.
can think
And
of
those
off the
are
top of my
and
head.
one retired. Katie is retired from international. Carly is unfortunately fringe,
Yeah,
but has absolutely been capped. And Capoeina Bailey is also fringe. But
yeah,
but that's correct.
yeah.
And all three of them, by the way, have taken part in it. I believe I saw that all of them also signed the document.
Yes. So
Yeah,
there is a document that went out, I want to sound like Monday, which is a letter to WER saying basically we want trans women back. We don't
right.
believe in this, blah blah blah. There were like 96 signatures. There are a lot of people saying in the comments, and a couple of other people put up posts saying, I didn't get the email. I would
Yeah,
have
I
signed
wish I
it.
had been
Yeah.
on, which was fantastic,
Yeah.
honestly. You know, it could have gone either way, but instead it wasn't people angry, it was people
No.
being like, I actually wanted to be on this list.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to rack my brain. There's a player who is non-binary. I don't know if necessarily trans, but retired because of this. Was probably going to retire anyway, was on the older end. It's not Yasia Dunn, but it's someone else of that caliber.
Mm.
And now it just sounds
I
like I'm
know Mads from who was a
Oh, that's who it was.
coach
It was
for New
Mads. It was
York
Mads.
has
That's who it
retired
was.
for
That's who it was.
well, they haven't retired, but they've left WER as a coach because they don't want to take part in what's going on.
Yep.
Which is obviously their prerogative. They
Yep.
can, you know,
And they put out when they were announcing the retirement, they were like, this is specifically because I don't and was like, I'm not playing anymore, but I am coaching there, coach of the Exiles, the New York Exiles, and was like,
they're still working with New York Rugby Club. They're still
right.
the coach for that, but they're just not working with WER.
It's true. And critically though, USA Club Rugby has this is in a different kind of format slash venue, but has taken an even weaker response because, of course, everything is coming down from USA Rugby,
Mhm.
and USA Club Rugby obviously like if this were an international like is a signatory to them, obviously is like under them in terms of jurisdiction. But I honestly think that like the club structure understands that they can't. I mean, we've talked about it so much. It's something else that, like, if you would like the long form, go back to one of our other episodes. But in American rugby specifically, like, there is truly a ceiling to how much you can upset the queer community because, like, your numbers will go down in droves. This is not, and I hate to say it in this way. But this is not like the Red Roses where like you have everybody in line and they'll
Mhm.
stay quiet because they worry about it. Here, um, you'll lose your league if you piss them off too much.
I just to just to hinge on that, um, is the fact that I discovered yesterday and messaged Julia at like literally quarter to midnight UK time, being like, "Did you know IGR's banned trans women?"
And
Like again, well, they've brought out the like open category. And I was just thinking,
right,
of
and so
all
and so
of the leagues to do this, this makes no sense.
after you said this, well, so after you said that, and you asked me if I knew, and I said no because I will admit that like I follow a ton of rugby. IGR was kind of the rugby that I'm very sorry that I was least interested in. It's all men, there are no women. Um,
Well, yeah, they have. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't
I mean, they've never been present in women's rugby
know.
to a degree that it would have hit my radar. But I did know that something like this could happen because you reminded me as well in our chat, but it was something that I did already know. But they already are. I'm trying to find a good way of saying it because I wouldn't say they're Zionists. I don't actually know, but that is the
They
team that
did.
they would pick if they did.
They did bring sanctions. I believe it's like Copenhagen
Yes.
gay sevens,
Yeah.
because they wanted to stop Tel
An
Aviv team
Israeli.
from competing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
an Israeli team. Exactly. That was the extent of that I knew. But generally, if you're a cowardice, if you're a coward in one field, when you are a coward again in another field, I am less surprised. So that one didn't surprise me, and that's disappointing. I'm really heartened. I've said it before. I'm really heartened that it not only was the response so strong, but that it's held up, and it looks like actually it's gained traction.
It's gained traction, and
I didn't expect the WER teams themselves, all of their fans. So last time we spoke on this substantively, all of the WER fan clubs, and so like if you follow soccer often has supporters clubs. Rugby tends to not. I think this is something that like we're trying to make happen in America. I don't really care. I'm ambivalent about it. I don't think it'll work out, and I don't think that it's gonna like change rugby culture, so I don't really care. But they have them, and that's cute. And usually these accounts are just like posting highlights and like meet our team, and they do like cute little So it's just kind of like a supplementary social media team. All of them came out immediately because what are you gonna do? Disband them? You don't want fans? But the teams themselves, all of them, came out against it, and we're like, we are doing this with a gun to our head.
Yeah.
I would keel over and die if like PWR said that one day. That like we are doing this against, but no.
So with that, I think the thing that's really interesting is that WER can't even like hide from it. I think, you know, if this was PWR, they'd be like, you can't go out on the pitch with this, you can't do that. No, there was all but one second row, or all but one jumper that I saw this week had trans pride tape on.
I was going to say it is remarkable.
It
is remarkable to me that it is only Eric Gerald Searcy in the PWR at all who wears the tape. That's crazy to me. I am very surprised that other ones like Sarah Byrne is one that I think of that I know has said that like I would not propose. I mean, obviously she had to say like in the most dainty, like careful way possible. But was just like, if it were me, I would not have a ban. And instead here we're just like, so we are doing
I'm actually making note of the one player who was not rather than the one player who was, which I think was a big deal. Although I'm not really going to call them out because like some people get a bit funny about their tape, and like
it doesn't.
At the end of the day, like,
and also the other point that I know you want to make about that player, it doesn't help.
It doesn't help.
No.
But like,
we will say this: the one player that didn't is also a player who has made other unpopular political statements. It is closest to, no, oh God, that'd be horrible. I was gonna say because I was gonna say Britta Curl. No one would get that. Nobody would get that. So I was gonna say Izzy Folau, and I was like, Jesus Christ, she's not that bad. She's not Izzy Folau bad, but along the lines of like the most on the line.
I think the thing is like, but like she's a controversial player. The only people who care enough to deem her controversial is us two.
Is us. And everybody that I've told since because
the people that we have informed, but no one anyway.
Exactly.
Moving along from her, the other thing, so I was able to watch one game, which is something we will get into. But again, we've talked about Wendy and everything that she's done, YSC, Your Scrum Half Connection, for this issue and for WER generally. One thing, her comms at the weekend in the game that I watched was sensational.
Wendy went and hung out with Nikki.
And was like,
and came back and was like, guess what I found?
She was so good.
It was fantastic.
But she also on air was like, fuck you. Was like, I'm bringing up the trans ban. I'm going to call it out for being dog shit. Wendy didn't swear. Wendy was actually quite polite, but she did dunk on them.
She did say one funny thing that was so much so that like in the middle of talking about it, you were like, wait, she just said, and I don't remember what it was, but you gave me what was the quote about saying a slur?
Oh, yes. This wasn't to do with like the trans thing, but she was like,
oh, okay. I wasn't.
She was like, she was like, I'm assuming what she meant was she was going to say something about a player, which like player to like if we said it to each other, it would be fine. Yeah.
Player to player. Yeah.
And then she realized she was on air. She was like, I almost called her a slur.
Which is, and like, it was perfect because like you mentioned it, like I have talked to her as a friend, but when I'm just like, girl, absolutely, I know exactly what you're gonna say. Same. I know exactly what you're gonna say.
And I was
We
like,
were all thinking it.
I love it.
And especially what I love is that we caught on to that and that was our reaction to it. And it makes me think of like it makes me think of when we talk with our dudes about like male commentators that maybe we find annoying and they're like, but I like that. And I'm just like, yeah, you wouldn't find that annoying. And then for this one, I'm just like, yeah, it's kind of for this one, it's if you know you know.
Yeah.
So
But it was just really fun because obviously this weekend there's been a lot of drama about
a
commentators
lot.
this weekend, and Wendy
Uh
slay. However,
our unproblematic queen.
unproblematic queen. Speaking of problematic
Unfortunately.
queens,
Unfortunately.
if you want to go back and watch that game or any of the three games, you may
Good luck.
find some issues. So the it's on so WER is broadcasting on Women's Sports Network, which is different from the other versions of
All
all,
women's sports
yeah,
network,
that they
which is
are,
the one that Whoopi or whoever
yeah,
founded. It wasn't Whoopi, who
uh,
was it?
it's either Whoopi or Oprah or Queen Latifah.
Oh, oh, it is Queen Latifah.
It is
Oh,
Queen
never
Latifah.
mind. I'm in for it again. Sorry, I'm a big Queen Latifah head.
Imagine if we
Yes,
got
Queen.
all of that wrong and it's another, yeah,
Black woman of status. Yes.
yeah. He
Yeah.
may or may not be. Yeah, we've.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't think. And so today on the pod, Hattie indirectly, completely by accident, called Oprah queer.
look, if you want to believe the
Look,
rumors, you believe the rumors. I don't
look,
know.
Gail.
Um, so
If you
that's
want
the
to watch
network.
WER
It's if you want to watch it, that's where it is now
live, that's where it is live.
live. And if you're in the UK, you can watch it on Plex. Now, none of you know what that
Which I didn't
is.
know did stream. Well, so we have Plex is almost ubiquitous here, but Plex is a personal media server. So you have your Plex, and like, not that I've ever pirated, but if I did and had a bunch of terabytes of media, I would put it on my Plex, and then I would give you access to my Plex, and now you can watch all my movies. That's what it's usually used for. I didn't even know Plex streamed.
Or is it the same Plex, or is it? I don't know. But
Yes,
it's
it's the
it's on
exact
there.
same.
Okay.
It's the exact same.
So that is the only place in the UK that I have found you can watch it without a VPN. Now, if you go on to Tubi, whatever, you can watch it there. The thing I have discovered is that one of the servers or one of the broadcasting partners that WER says you can watch WSN on has Rugby Pass, but not WSN in the UK.
Oh, in terms of like if your
It is
smart
one
TV
of
is
the channels.
XYZ. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and so I mean, and we actually had a lot of problems describing this on Wall Street Journal as well because and I'm not saying this this is not a direct critique of WER. WER, first of all, it's only in its second year. They had DAZN the zone last year, which was pretty good. The whole reason that it fell apart wasn't WER's fault. It probably also wasn't DAZN's fault. It is true, and it is still important to know because this hasn't changed this much. But if you're new to the pod or if you're new to the WER, simply because of the way WER was able to contract stadiums and the state of women's sports in the world, let alone in America. Not every place where they play is really
so
set up
I
for it.
will say the broadcast quality this weekend for the one game I was able to watch was actually
So,
very, very good.
so it is. And so, because, and on the back of that, I am much more hesitant to ding this setup already. First of all, it's only in its second week this upcoming
Mm.
weekend. I'm really hesitant to ding this deal. I think that WR should be commended that and I say this from somebody who really wants to be watching, for example, Elite 1,
Mm.
who for a long time wanted to watch PWR and its predecessor, the Prem 15s. And for a long time, it was very hard to watch. So I really appreciate that WR is making a concerted effort. At the end of the day, it costs money to broadcast.
Mm.
Eventually, we would love it if we were pulling a profit, but we're not the NWSL. We're not the WNBA. Nobody is fighting over putting us on the air. I would rather there be somewhere that you can reliably watch every week I think for me, the one really glaring weakness is no replays.
Yeah,
Um,
this is it. Like, I think so. I went on earlier and I logged in with a VPN, tried to try to see if there were replays on TV. There were not, despite the fact that it's being advertised,
that's advertised.
which sucks. Um, it's just it's really irritating because it gives all these places you can watch it, and then the Women's Sports Network isn't on there. I tried to contact Tubi in the UK and said, "Can you get Women's Sports Network?" And I got a weird automated email saying that my programming was denied. Um,
Send us another idea. Oh, sorry, I didn't even end that thought. So what we were saying on Wall Street Journal. So the Women's Sports Network. I'm not sure how you access it in the UK. I assume
on
you're saying it
on
was on
Plex.
Plex. Okay,
So
so
yes, I went
great.
on Plex. The if you go on
The app.
our
Yeah,
Twitter or on our Blue Sky, there is a link, and I
great.
will
Okay, and
repost it.
we'll repost that. Here, what I have found, and then also what both of my co-hosts found, on Wall Street Journal, all three of us have different types of smart TVs. I have the equivalent of a Fire TV. One of my co-hosts has a Samsung, and one of them has the like an Android TV, basically. And what you have to do to access it is not open for America, not open an app. When you turn on your smart TV, you just go to the live tab.
Ah,
No app at
interesting.
all. That was what it was for all three of them. And then there's a oh, we haven't looked on Apple TV because none of us have an Apple TV, but that was the case. And then you navigate to live. It's all the way along with all the other like we have a 24-hour cricket channel, which I love. But anyway, it's like down there with all the like weird sports,
Mm.
ESPN the Ocho, like that sort of thing. It's down there, and then of course it's only there when it's live. I looked all over for any kinds of replays. It's not there. I should check Tubi US. I just
I could find it on Tubi US. I just couldn't find the replays,
oh okay, okay great. That
which is
that does
what
it.
they're advertising.
That's what I'm hoping. The only thing, and it's a very like only a shadow of a hope, but there's a shadow of a hope because like when I put on my VPN and then like go to Amazon and then I
Yeah.
get Amazon UK, right, but it's different. So
Mm,
I do wonder if native US Tubi,
maybe.
it's a very low chance. So I'll find out, and if we find out something different, we will tweet about it and blue sky it. We have bandied about, and we know that we really should get an Instagram. We haven't yet. Hattie doesn't want to be a small business again.
I
But
I I just
we're
look when
tired of.
I'm already running accounts for two small for my blog
That's
and a
right.
small business, and then I have the Women's Rugby Treehouse. Uh, there's a lot going on. There's a
No,
lot of
it's a lot.
accounts. I don't.
It's a lot. We
Yeah.
understand. We were the only reason we bring it up at all is because we in our little podcast family have been pondering, how do we reach because we found out through friend and editor of the pod, Hugh, that the demographics that we are unfortunately aiming for with where we currently put our stuff is not necessarily everybody we want to reach.
Shout
Like,
out to
for
all the old men
example,
watching
I was
this
going to say to everybody over 40 and mostly in the UK,
and male.
sorry. Well, sorry, I'm one of the two you have to listen to.
Yeah.
And for the Americans, you're here because you know me personally, so thank you, and I hope you're still my friend. Um, with that,
With that, very quickly, sorry if you're Canadian. Apparently, people in Canada can't find it.
yeah, I am working on that. We have several Canadian friends who are on the case for us. I'm gonna check back in with them, unfortunately, right after we record. But as always, if we find anything out, we will blast it out. We know that we are who you come to first for breaking news.
Mm.
We might get to it the next week.
Speaking of breaking news, Julia, you're about to see something sensational, something
Can't
you
wait.
you can't imagine.
Uh, in the world of rugby, it could be anything. Hey, so that's crazy that you can do that. I've
Look, it's
what
a
I was
woman
told is you can't.
palming, holding a ball, a woman holding, and this is
I
a
should have.
WXV size 5 rugby ball. And
Oh
look at
no.
me, I am a woman and I am holding it.
You keep doing that. I want to join you. I don't like being left out. You keep talking. I'm gonna go get mine too. Because I want to see
Okay.
if I want to see if I can with my Very small hand.
Yeah, I to be fair, like as much as I am like, what the hell? Like, of course women can palm a ball. I do have very large hands.
Oh, okay.
Um
Well, I don't. So
I so turns out women can palm a ball. If you're listening, and you're not watching, what you can't see is that Julia's now got her camera off while she goes to go find a ball, and I'm awkwardly sat
yeah, you know
here
why? Because I just
holding a
realized
ball.
that I forgot to put on bra, so nobody needs to see that. I didn't know, and this is a little bit flat, so fair.
Oh, I
But
just
yeah,
pumped this one back up a bit
yeah, I
because
know.
I got a new ball the other day, and I
Really
then
should have
went
thought
to go
this
put it
through.
up on the thing, and they were all flat.
Please keep in mind, I am 5'1" and I am a hooker. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you are.
yeah, you are. It's a rugby podcast. It doesn't even work.
But yeah,
Anyway,
we are.
I have never had any problems. And I have played forever. And now I'm old and I can still. So,
Oh,
folks,
I just bashed myself in the face. Um,
that is also something that you often did, but it has nothing to do with your skill and a lot to do with you as a person. You are one of the clumsiest people I've ever met.
yeah. Speaking of clumsy, I was sewing the other day,
You were,
and
oh, sewing the other day. Okay, go
sewing,
on.
and I managed to stab myself so badly with the needle. And I was like, oh, that hurt. And then I carried on sewing, and I was sewing with white thread, and then I like lifted my finger, and the entire like bit that I just sewed was bright red. So the thing I'm currently sewing has
I was
literally
gonna say
been
has no red. Nothing that you're sewing right now has red,
no.
which is so like usually when you're sewing, it's something vaguely to do with whales. The one time you're not,
Yeah, so
and
I'm sewing a
and
for
free
lightning
red.
jersey, and it's black with white embroidery on it, and it yeah, there was literally just a huge patch of red, and I didn't know what to do, so I just sewed over the top with more thread.
Yeah, that's what I would have done.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah. But it's
No,
literally been made with blood and
with
tears.
your blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know about sweat yet, but
you've never like gotten overheated watching Criminal Minds, like getting too excited.
no, the downstairs of my house is very cold.
Ah, same.
Mm.
So why are we talking about the ball?
Dainty lady balls. So today. So, so the last time we talked about dainty lady balls, we've got an entire episode about dainty lady balls. We've also touched up about dainty lady. We've not touched up about dainty lady balls.
Have you been touching up dainty ladyballs?
Not personally.
Okay, good,
Um,
because they would send someone to your home.
yeah. Um, but uh, today a interview was dropped. Well, first of all, a piece was dropped by the BBC saying that Zoe Harrison said that the Dainty Lady Ball, not actually Dainty Lady Ball, said the 4.5, the ball size trial was the worst thing, the worst decision anybody's ever made, and that she was unaware of it until the journalist had asked her, which is
Mhm.
which is a segment of that which is getting left out, which I think is unfortunate because I think it's quite an important
It's
part.
extremely relevant, and I would also like to add, and you know, this along with it, Maggie Alfonsi boosted it. We
Mhm.
knew already. Maggie was, I think, the first voice that I lend credence to. She was the first person who spoke about this at all after the decision was made, and it was
Yeah.
an abject, resistance to it. And then former captain and World Cup winner Kat Spencer was like, I've yelled at you many times about this, and I thought you had
It
heard
was
me and
over.
Maggie and the rest of us. Yeah. Um,
We've also had
Molly has also. Yeah, but go on.
Yeah, so we've also had Aleph Kelter speak out and say that she doesn't agree with it. We have had Kate Zachary has been involved, has done some bits. We've had a couple of the Spanish team. We have had so many.
All of this is to say we do not we have heard so in the interest of I guess fairness, I was recently informed by Hattie because I don't pay attention to the British Sevens team, that Katie Schilliker gave a very lukewarm, like it wasn't the worst, and we wanted to. Well, it's too late for me to preface, but I would have prefaced it with she was put on the spot,
Mhm.
and also she works for our review. I don't.
Yeah,
Uh,
like I think you have to bear in mind, like yes, Kate Schilliker and Zoe Harrison have the same employer, right?
Yep.
However, they are two vastly different people in terms of the power that they hold. Zoe Harrison
And where they
has,
are in their career, yeah.
yeah, like Zoe Harrison can go out and kind of say whatever. Like if there's
There is no risk. There is no risk to her.
no, there
So
is,
she could just not say anything and be fine, but she
yeah,
chose to.
but she chose to speak out and say, "Hey,
I
no."
don't think so.
And I have to be honest, if any player is going to come out and be like, "This is bullshit,"
That is
like
not who we expected.
it's not who we expected, but I actually think it's a really good person to have said it. Like
Oh, it absolutely is.
she's
You know what?
she's not very big. She has 100% kicking record in this Six
I was
Nations.
gonna say had gotten 15 for 15 from the tee. So
She's like
much so, by
one
the
of the
way,
leading pass. Like if
what I
she thinks
absolutely
it's ridiculous.
what really tickled me, and Hugh pointed out to us, obviously we had no fucking idea that she would be the one to speak up about it. First of all, last time we talked about it, we didn't think anybody would. We thought we would be yelling into the wind. So this is awesome. Second of all, it's very funny that we were sitting around after we had recorded that episode, and Hugh and Lee were like, "What do we want to do for the thumbnail?" And we were like, no, we were like, we really want to make sure that, we want to get eyes on it, so it can't just be like our favorite kickers. Because like they don't want to see like Dan O'Brien and Kira Bevan. They'd be like, who the fuck? So we were like, let's do two like amazing kickers, and we did Renee Holmes and we did Zoe Harrison, and it turns out,
And we were like, we were really arguing with Hugh and Lee as well because we were like,
We were.
neither of them would speak out. Like Renee Holmes is
Yeah.
like very quiet.
Very quiet, yeah.
Zoe Harrison, RFU. Like
RFU all the way.
we just didn't think, and she did. She was
Yep.
like, and
No.
I can't. We're just very, very happy. I think that I think an England player coming out and saying, this
Unless
is
you care very
terrible.
much, unless you care very much about like kind of more, I would consider it of all the things that you can talk about women's rugby, kind of the social aspect. I agree is kind of minutia. We love it, but it's because like this is our lives. Like we love going on Instagram and like seeing who's saying what. They're little jokes to each other. Yeah, it could be something kind of like minor and lost at it, but no. And I am surprised.
I think it's going absolutely insane. Like as I said, it was first done as like a little piece on the BBC website. It then got picked up. They posted the actual video on TikTok. It's gone
it
from
is
being on the BBC like sport thing to being on the
Yep.
it's on the main page of BBC News.
ITV.
ITV have picked up on it. I believe Wales Online have picked up on it. Like it's going everywhere.
It is. And so I mean, whatever. I was gonna go off on a tangent. Like, where have you been? Because like this was announced at the beginning of the seventh season, so like this has already been happening. They didn't know that there was a trial or whatever. What I want to touch on,
I do think with Zoe Harrison, I think what she probably means is that she didn't know that the trial was going to be for WXV, which
yeah,
I assume
yeah, totally,
yeah.
totally. And by the way, and so this is why I was really like I really wanted to preface with the like some of this is minutia. It is also important. And I try to bear this in mind. We try to bear this in mind when we talk about what players did or didn't know at a certain time. Is that truly Hattie and I are very online for rugby people.
And
a
it
lot
took
of the stuff,
like a week to find the
Oh,
article.
absolutely, it took us that long. But even more to the point, if you weren't going and looking for this, like if, for example, you played for a World Cup team and you were probably training every day, no, I wouldn't expect that you had seen it. And the fact that we saw people like Kate Zachary start speaking out, like Alev, these are all people that like I know for a fact are not online that much. So this was probably the first time, and this is gut reaction, which leads me to oh well. Unless you wanted to respond to that, I was going to lead that into one of our biggest points against this. And we talked about it extensively the last time we talked about this, but it is really important to bring it up again because we're talking about who really knew what when and who was really spoken to.
Like they're saying it's a consultation process. They're saying that players have been involved.
We
Apparently,
want to talk about
there's
the consultation
150. Apparently, 150 people were
150
consulted.
100 now.
Yeah.
I would like to break this down because in my other life as like a policy type person, this irks me so badly. Because for a reason that they didn't say who.
Yep.
Which 150 people? Did you talk to a bunch of 60-year-old male coaches who only coached U8? Or were you talking to the Red Roses? Because it sounds like you weren't talking to the Red Roses.
Well, I would assume those 150, if you look the under 18 slash under 20 squads for the Six Nations are about 30 per team. 30 times 6 is 150. So
30 times 6 is 180.
I can't do maths.
If there were 5, it would be 150.
However, that
They let
might
you run a
it might
business.
it I know I'm in charge of finances.
I know. I know. That's great. So that is, but jokes and numbers aside, we also
Are they
this is
I'm
very-
assuming those 150 are like the under 20 Six Nations players.
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all. I
If it
genuinely
is
think
then.
I think they said people and not players because I think there are quote coaches who I think about like the men that I get into arguments with on Instagram who say that they coach a U12 team. They mean their daughter is on the team. They're not actually the coach. But they coach a U12 team and for some reason their opinion counts. It doesn't. I have more rugby experience than you do. I think they talk to those types of people. I think they absolutely talk to administrators. I think they probably talked to each other a lot. I don't, first of all, I don't have anything to lose. I'm not on a contract, so I don't mind saying this, but I do not trust World Rugby. Why would I? You have repeatedly done things that tangibly damage the women's game. You often tell us very patronizingly that this is for our own good, only for it to be revealed you didn't talk to anybody and you didn't get it right. And so I know we're name checking her a lot today, but honestly, YSC has done so much work on this. And I do want to go back to the YSC poll because when I think of who World Rugby cherry picked to talk to versus who I know reads YSC and who probably responded to it, is there a chance that it's probably mostly American and Canadian respondents? Probably. But at this point, it was also probably a good number of the British. A lot of them she works with. She goes over. She's becoming better known. YSC is becoming better known. It should have been longer, obviously, yes. Not the point right now. I genuinely think that the people that have answered that poll are probably more representative of the playing population than who World Rugby spoke to.
Yeah.
If World Rugby really had proof, they would tell us who they spoke to. And by the way, this would be, like you said, it took us a week to find this. This would be everywhere if it were true. Why aren't you doing studies on how the fuck we stop the ACL scourge?
Right. So I have two things. First of all, the announcement was made, and surely they should have told the teams involved in WXV that they were going to be a part of a trial
And they very
before
clearly
that
did
it was
not.
announced, which they clearly have not, right? We've also had, is it Francis Ratier, the French coach? He's been active saying that he doesn't agree with this as well now in the French press.
Ratier is great.
So, like, you've got a coach, you've got players, they're all doing it on a delay based on the fact that Zoe Harrison was asked in an interview, which to me says that none of these people were informed.
No.
None of them.
That's absolutely right. And we know from the order in which things happened that now if World Rugby were to respond to this at all, unfortunately, they would have to reveal that they just there was a failure of didn't tell anybody. There was a failure of communication. One key thing that I will point out right now is, first of all, took us a long time to find it, and then when we did find the article, on the first read, we understood it one way, and then you had to read it again because the wording was so clever that it read at first like they were trying it with the Challenger series of WXV, which is, by the way, its own level of fucked up. If that were the case, it's not. But if it were the case that you were just trying it on teams you don't deem elite, which is what they do when they stratify like this. But then we figured out it's going to be on all of the WXV, which means all of the teams. And we knew by nobody saying anything that something had to have been lost. There's no way that nobody would have responded. And we know because everybody is responding right now going, what the fuck? And I doubt that this is going to be the only one. I'm super happy Zoe did this. Zoe, thank you so much for doing this. I really hope you opened up the door and everybody realized that there is no threat to saying that you don't like this. I understand rugby has such a culture of like, shut up and say everything is going well. Because like we don't want, I don't know why, we don't want investors to think that there's unrest. We don't want non-rugby people who we might bring in to think that it's a messy sport. I understand. Also, I don't care. Soccer doesn't have that problem. Cricket doesn't have that problem. They're messy all the time. I would rather this be a league where I feel like the people who are, or this game is one that there's any informed anything, but
So speaking of cricket, something that's
yes.
been brought up a lot is that cricket and basketball, the women's games
Oh, let's.
are slightly different.
Let's.
Now, this is really interesting. It's something that, Wendy, do you want to just come on as a like
I know.
just
I
just
know.
visit us? Anyway,
It's just that she's so busy, but like
she's
I
just
keep being
so
like,
busy.
hey. Anyway, yes, I think we're going to.
So
Women's
anyway,
Rugby Treehouse goal. Bring on Wendy. Go on.
bring on Wendy. Sorry, Wendy, you're like second on our list of people we would have on. The first would be Sophie de Goody, but I feel like
It's
you're
Sophie
kind
de
of
Goody.
yeah.
But you
Maybe
would too.
maybe it's Sophie 11 and then Wendy. But again, I feel like Wendy would be fine with
Be
that.
there.
Yeah.
Would also be there.
Yeah. Um, so Wendy made this very, very good point that with both of those, the question and the reason why it was to do with performance and that performance did improve. However, with women's rugby games, we score more tries per
Don't
game.
need improvement.
And our game is faster. Our game has more ball in play time. If anything,
To liken wait. So to liken this for men who are maybe like, I really don't see the big deal, or like I don't understand the big hubbub or whatever.
or if you're like women, smaller, therefore smaller ball,
Right,
it's
right,
just
but
physics.
right.
That's my impression of
So
the game.
I to those people, I would say this is along the same lines of like everybody says that rugby is too slow, let's depower the strums. Well, that how will that grow the game? That's a different game.
But also, if you're saying rugby is too slow, our
Well,
game
I
is faster.
right. No, I understand. I'm not
Why?
saying that that's the same thing. No. I'm
No, no,
saying
no. But
the phenomenon is the same because on out of one side of its mouth, World Rugby is telling us that the number one driver of rugby growth on the planet is women's rugby. So you should change it. Now, I'd also like to talk about how much the World Rugby, the organization, and also World Rugby, like as a group of people, loves to tout how equal the game is between the men and the women, which of course this would change it. And also how much we celebrate that everybody is welcome in rugby. And then at the same time that they're like, these women too small, can't deal with the ball. Have been doing it, by the way. All of the numbers do not support this. We have again higher scoring and higher number of minutes in play. Somebody was
ruck
very
speed is
stupidly
faster.
ruck speed is faster. Somebody was very stupidly arguing with me about kicking out of hand, which I don't understand how the ball would have anything to do with because you kick out of hand by opportunity. And then he was like, well, what about like a 6'8" man and like Lucy Packer? And I'm like, well, I don't think they're gonna be playing each other, so but anyway.
But
All
Julia,
of that
we were stoking the gender war.
oh, we are stoking the gender war.
Yeah.
Which is true. But to that kind of person, I would say before this, there wasn't a gender war. So you are stoking the gender war because there wasn't one. The same way that if women's rugby were really having a problem, how would people be liking it so much? How would the stats be improving so much? Why is it that every year our ruck speeds get faster? Why is it that every year our kicking gets further, but they aren't changing the ball? I don't. There are invented problems. There are invented problems that don't exist. That's one problem. But what's worse is that it's World Rugby lying about it. Why you say both? At least the men who come to me with the disingenuous arguments about the difference in sizes or whatever, at least they don't also go somewhere else and tout how great women's rugby is. World Rugby is capitalizing on us and then telling us who can play the game, even though this whole time one of the biggest draws has been the inclusivity. And then also suddenly saying, without saying, but saying, suddenly we aren't physically able to play this game the way it is. That's all insulting and infantilizing as it is. And then the kicker is that it's all not true.
We will also very quickly talk about there has been a handful of people, a handful of women. We're going to ignore the men who've come out into favour of this because, quite
Sorry,
frankly,
I don't care.
Your opinion does not matter. I know this is very foreign to a lot of middle-aged men, but your opinion in this
On women's
matter.
rugby performance does not matter.
No.
Unless you are Francois Routier, it does not matter. Unless you are John Mitchell, it doesn't matter. I don't.
And even then, they're not picking up the ball.
Yeah. And also, they're saying they don't like it because they know these women. They, unlike World Rugby, talked to these women.
Now, there have been a handful of former players, except female former players or creators, whatever.
Oh, yeah, I don't mind. I'll say it if you don't want to.
Who have come out and have been like, it's a trial.
Maybe give it a chance. And by the way, even the people that we are considering as being on the side of are all doing it really meekly. They're all like, maybe give it a chance. We don't know. They said they talked to players. It's all very much like, well, maybe.
Here's the
not
thing.
not even full through. Like their defense is that way, and then Zoe's stance is this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Right.
So you can tell how strong each feeling is.
Here's the thing. Those people, can I remind you of the 20-minute red card trial?
That's a great point.
That was not a trial. They went, we're putting it in this competition.
This is why I brought up the scrum depowering, because we know if it actually comes, it won't leave.
They then put it in a junior competition. They put it in WXV because they don't view women's rugby as being equal. Same. And they put it in Pacific Nations, the men's tournament with USA, Canada, Tonga, etc.
Who they also don't
view as people because it's tier 2.
Yeah.
They put it in those two competitions. People were up in arms about it and said, we don't like it. There was massive issues, specifically in the Pacific Nations. And then they brought it in for the men's game and the rest of the rest of the world just very quietly and went, yeah, it's not going away. It's staying.
Yeah, it's here now.
And even though there were multiple unions saying, we don't like this, we're not going to do it.
We didn't like it.
They're doing it anyway. And I think even now, I don't even think it's officially in the law book. It's just like a trial. And they're like, it's a trial law. But it doesn't seem to be going away. With the 4.5 ball, unless the Red Roses, unless John Mitchell, unless, let's be honest, unless England kick up enough of a fuss.
Maybe Whitney Hansen, maybe.
Yeah, New Zealand and in England, maybe France.
Are the only ones.
Yeah. Maybe South Africa because they've got
Francois Routier already spoke about it and they didn't care. So.
Then they're not going to give a shit unless the Red Roses, unless the RFU come out and say we're not using this ball. The PWR. This is another thing. The PWR have also been posting.
Could be a linchpin in this. Yes.
The PWR posted a video earlier about rugby balls, and we're like,
I know. So great. I want to touch on that. If the PWR, actually, you know what? No, I will. It wasn't PWR. It was Quinn's. But
no, it was PWR. It just was it was with Quinn's players, but it was the PWR.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it was the same video though. Fantastic. I also want to point out one more thing, and it's along the lines of like once it's in, it's in. Unlike 20-minute red card, and this is a part of the bigger problem that we won't go into because it was the crux when we made this argument the first time. It is as valuable as ever. It's just we've already done a long rant on it. Once these 4.5 balls are in production and are in the clubs, they're not going to go away again, obviously. Think about the expenditure for all of this, which, by the way, which is what I was saying, we've already done this rant in long form. You will be putting an incredible onus on teams that cannot afford it. It is true right now that especially in developing places, in rugby developing nations, usually women's clubs are direct descendants of men's clubs. They share gear, definitely all over Africa, definitely all over South America, which is the two places that World Rugby says are our goals. But, if we could put up another barrier to entry for women other than, the economy, employment, gender equality, violence against women, all of these other things that already make it very hard for women to enter rugby. What we should also do is make it harder to have a women's rugby club. Cool. But yes, to the point that like this won't go away. I really doubt that like England is going to go get a bunch of really fancy designed 4.5 with all their emblems all over it, and then they'll be like, "Oh, well, they didn't like it, so we'll just."
Yeah.
No, they're going to double down on their bad investment. We aren't, and honestly, this is all kind of my big problem, and it's an inartful way of saying it, but it's made me really want to say this, Lolly. I'm not fucking stupid. Nobody in this game is fucking stupid, and I'm not an elite player. I'm not a coach. The real ball knowers, the ball players, they're not stupid. They, they can't for now. They can't say stuff like we can, but if Zoe
Do
Harrison
it.
can say
Zoe
it,
Harrison
do
did
it.
it, and it was fine.
And you know what? This is an argument I've made about a bunch of different stuff, but I've said this a lot to the Wales women in various iterations of like when we've talked about teams and stuff. Um, I wish I wish women athletes I wish they were more like WNBA players. Like I wish you had a little bit of conceit in yourself. I wish that if you were Sarah Byrne, you realized that you're never gonna not be on a team. I wish that if you were Kira Bevan, you realized that like you could say whatever you want about WRU. They're not gonna get rid of you.
No.
I understand that it's a rugby values thing. I understand that it's a respect thing. We really like that. We like some tradition and values in rugby, but not if it gets in the way of a shiny thing that we like. Even because, one of the biggest traditional values is that men's and women's have absolutely no difference. Um, that we don't care that much about, but being polite, you have to be very nice to the old white men. Even if their ideas are bad. And it makes me think of that fantastic commercial that France did for the Six Nations with all the men sitting around talking about the women, and then they burst in and they're like, no. That's how
What
it
I'm going to
feels.
say
It feels
is-
like you're all sitting around in a room talking about us, but not to us.
Us. If you are a Six Nations broadcaster this weekend, my recommendation to you is to get Ruth Campbell, Maisie Davis, Captain Dr. Rachel Malcolm. She's injured, it's fine. So she's gonna
Got time.
She's got time.
She's going to be walking, or she's going to be pacing that touchline.
Yeah. Jade Conker Roberts is retired, but she's, I'm sure, available if she's not fighting fires. And Rona Lloyd.
Yeah, because I know you
Ask-
wouldn't talk to an American or a French, but
Well,
absolutely talk to those.
Well,
No, I
they're
know,
not going to be at the Six
Oh,
Nations.
at the Six
are they?
Nations. Oh, obviously. Yeah. You're right.
And language barrier. Ask Pauline Bourdon-Sansu in French.
I was just going to say, honestly, P.S.
Especially
I
if
can't
you
even
get
imagine.
her
I
on,
can't even
this-
imagine at the right time if you
Yeah.
get her like after a match.
After she's been pulled off the pitch when she doesn't want
Yes.
to be. Yeah.
Yes.
She would come out with swear words that
That you didn't
nobody
know they
has-
had in French.
Yeah.
That you didn't know they had in French. She will pull out a phrase that we have to pull one of our friends in to tell us what it means because Urban Dictionary is giving us a weird answer.
Yeah. And then Ragone is obviously not in the Italian squad, but ask her because I'm sure that would be fun.
By the way, and you're absolutely right. So so that was what I was thinking is like I would love to get like Beatrice Ragone, Dana O'Brien,
But
Kira.
I don't think that
Sophie.
few players would be good because they're so media trained. They're like robots.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I guess I was thinking more along like what I feel would be in their hearts, not what they would actually say. That's true.
Which is why
That's
it's
true.
Ruth Campbell.
Get Anna
because
Capeless. Get Anna Capeless.
Ruth has never trusted to do media.
Yeah, I know. It's very funny. Leinster lets her, which
Is
has always
glorious.
succeeded. Which has always succeeded. And when the Interpro show lets her on, it's great because yeah.
It's chaos.
Because Maeve Oak is like, I'm just bringing out my friends. But no, truly, like that would be. Honestly, now that you say it, actually, PBS would be a really great choice because we know she doesn't give a fuck about what she
Okay.
says to the media. She might be scared of being sanctioned for no reason again, but
Oh, I don't think she'd be scared.
I mean, she's
The only thing she'd be scared
she's
of, I
dope
think,
as
is
hell.
if she.
She's dope as hell, but like, I don't mean it scared as in like, ooh. I just mean like that'd be annoying.
Yeah, and I feel like she would be annoyed. I feel like it would be more of a hassle for her to get the ban and miss Toulouse games.
I was gonna
because
say
her wife would be mad at her.
It would be the annoyance. Yeah,
Yeah,
for her, it would just be the inconvenience.
But it would be the inconvenience of
man.
her wife being mad at her for missing Toulouse games at the end of the season. And I think she'd rather miss France games because her wife wouldn't have a go at her for that.
Wouldn't be mad at her. Yeah, that's fair. I don't think You could get mad at the mother of your child. It's fine. You can absolutely get mad at the mother of your child. What am I talking
Yeah.
about?
It's
Anyway, I
like,
do
have
think
you
it would be
not
very
met
funny.
most divorced men?
Have you met most mothers and fathers? Um, no, I really think that you should let Anna Capeless and Jenny Murphy get together and talk about it. Because they don't fucking care. That'd be very funny, and I think it would be inexplicably pro-Palestine, which would be awesome.
Yeah. I don't feel like Jenny Murphy's allowed on TV anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
because of being too right,
For being woke.
for being loud and correct,
Yeah.
which I completely agree with. And by the way, that is exactly the road I think that Ruth would probably go down, is the Jenny Murphy road of just like, you are too real.
Yeah.
We're not ready.
I, we're not going to get into it, but Ruth Campbell's social media brings us so
The
much
ride.
joy.
It does. It's having great takes, and then like everybody remembers being young and queer and like out of control. And if you
I'm
like that,
sure our audience of 40 to
of our
60
audience
year
of
old
mostly
white
40
men.
to 60-year-old white men from Britain can absolutely. Hey, you know what? Whenever I've been thinking about this
Which
recently, and this
ironically is what she dresses like.
it does, it is. Oof. And actually Gen Z would like agree. Oh. Is that I would agree. Sorry, Hugh said something strange to us in chat. Um, yeah. It's all fun. Social media. Oh, right. About our audience. I would like to defend one 40 to 60-year-old white man, and that is our friend in our chat, our friend Mike, who you all know and love. But yeah, I only say that because it is possible to make an old white man woke, but
Mm.
like they have to be primed. They have to
Shout
come to
out
you.
AJ.
Yeah,
AJ
AJ
and
and Mike.
Mike.
They have to come to you. You can't seek them out, which is honestly something I would like to tell World Rugby as well, is that you're not going to bring them over by being mean to women.
No.
Just because it's something they like to do doesn't mean they're going to come watch us do it.
Again, a lot of old white men don't understand. Well, a lot of men, not necessarily just white, just a lot of men,
Oh, that's
middle-aged
men.
men,
No, that's equal
just
opportunity men.
just don't understand women or just like life. Or the fact that things don't involve them. I know that that's a hard
It's
concept for them.
mostly things that don't.
Yeah.
It's mostly things that don't involve them. But honestly,
Speaking,
I would also like to say we say dumb shit like that a lot, and all of our old dudes stay. So I just want to say you guys are also probably the real ones because
yeah.
you hang around and you're very fun, and I love talking with you in the comments. Usually we are not talking to the men who are listening to us,
Oh, yeah.
which is very for women anyway.
Here's the thing. Not all men is
Not all men, and the men that it is aren't listening. And we know.
they
The
wouldn't
ones
have
who are
made it
listening to
five
us
minutes into
aren't.
this pod.
Yeah, they heard Hattie's tone and my accent, and they were like, I'm out. But the rest of you are real as hell.
Um, Speaking of things that don't generally involve old men,
Yeah.
unless they're coaches, we've got the Six Nations this weekend. We've also got the WER this weekend. We're both hoping to watch some of the games are at like midnight my time. Okay, I'm going
Right,
to be
that's
real
the
with you.
thing.
I like my
That's the
sleep.
thing. Yeah,
Um,
no, that's wild. And I mean, we don't need to go down the road or anything, but obviously like a lot of the success behind the Rugby Pass is the being able
Watching
to
it
watch
back, yeah.
immediately right after. Yeah.
Um,
Um,
so
so
we've got Italy versus England, Scotland versus France, Ireland versus Wales. Italy versus England. Any thoughts? We did give our thoughts last week, but things have
we
happened.
did.
Things changed. We've
Yeah, things have
slept.
happened.
We don't have
I
our
mean,
French influencer this week.
I know. Unfortunately for Italy, England, I don't have any insights I don't think people would consider novel. We did talk quite a fair bit about Italy, considering we were focusing on France last week. We talked a fair bit about Italy. We definitely talked about Italy the week before. Unfortunately, I can't say between uh the last two matches and then the last match and now that we've gotten any good news. Nobody is back who had left. I assume that the lineup is going to be the same. Um, no, I don't. I don't think it will be. It'll really depend on England team turns up, to be honest. I don't.
I mean, the one
My
thing I
instinct is that it won't be a bloodbath. It's going to be a defeat, obviously, but I don't know if it'll be a bloodbath or if it'll be like okay.
I think the one thing that could be interesting is the weather. Obviously last week when Wales
Sure.
under 21s played out in Italy, it was hot.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
boiling hot.
like I know in the UK it has
I
cool
was gonna say also your hot is different from the rest of the world's hot.
but the thing is like no, but even the Italian players are struggling.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
was that
So
hot.
yeah, that was where I was coming from.
So it could be interesting to see what that plays in the situation.
Yeah.
Scotland
Are they gonna
versus
be in
France.
Parma?
Yeah, it's in Parma,
Parma.
which is I think where the Wales game was last
That was
week.
where it was. Yes.
Yeah.
That was what I was asking.
So when we move over to Scotland versus France, it won't be warm because it's Scotland. Tomo is back. I don't know if she's going to be in the starting lineup or if she'll be on the bench, but they've
I would
lost the
assume bench,
likes
but yeah.
of Rachel McLaughlin to
Emma Orr.
injury. Emma Orr. Like it's well, no, they had the
I mean,
update the
and
other
so the thing
day.
is, Emma Orr out for Tomo in is almost just a one-for-one trade. So good. They definitely needed another center. Tomo is extremely reliable, but is back from injury, and you can only demand too much. Um, I think unfortunately that won't be enough because you'll need to preserve her for the final round anyway. Um,
It could be bad.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what else? What else is there for us
And
to
the thing is,
say?
like,
We
if
have
you're,
we have gone pretty deep in on Scotland. I just
I
don't
think
think there's anything new to add.
like we talked about last week where you have Mini Falou, which I from what I've seen, Karuk sent me
Yeah,
the leaked lineup the other day. She's starting at 12 and Big Falou's at 8.
great.
I don't want either of them running at a recently injured Tomo. That doesn't seem like
Right.
a good idea.
Agreed. That's why I think Tomo, if play, will probably be like a 60-minute sub. If
Having said that, it's also Scotland. They're
yeah,
idiots.
yeah.
Anything could happen.
It's true. I hesitate to say it with the same gusto because the coaching is different. Um, there hasn't been that much evidence. It seems so far like it's not amazing. Like it does feel like there have been a few beneficial changes that Fuga Fuga has made. Um, at the same time, we acknowledged it last time we spoke about it. There's only so much you can do to overcome the number of
David
injuries.
Nucifora.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, luckily, I think he's probably not even involved. Not in a complimentary way. I just think probably. I think the same as at Ireland. If he could just not touch women, he'd be happy. Not touch women. Not touch the women's game. He would be happy. Please don't touch women. But I think it's one
Well,
of the few
if
things
he
you
could,
didn't do.
if he could just not have the team and just have them play
Right.
sevens to tick a box, then he'd be fine. But that's all he cares about.
Oh no, I think genuinely he would be happy if he just didn't have to deal with administrating the
probably.
women's game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Um,
honestly, when you do that much damage, we would rather you did too. Just don't touch it.
but then he wouldn't have anything to blame the lack of success for the men's team on if he didn't have a women's team. So
Well,
he would lose the scapegoat. Anyway, Ireland versus Wales up in Belfast. We have lost Kate Williams for the rest of the tournament.
mhm.
Beth Lou is going to be captain. We do have Karis Cox back, which is big news. Hannah Jones,
Hannah is also
Dalabale
back.
but I'm
Hannah
not
is
fussed by
also
that. No
back.
offense to her, babe. More importantly, if anybody is going to the game and is able to get me a program or knows where I can buy a program on the internet, please let me know.
Speaking of dudes we love in the comments, Neil, I think you're Irish. Drop me a line, please. Hattie wants it so bad. And like it's one of the few times that I'm like, I wish I could go to Belfast.
Do you know what? I was genuinely thinking about going to Belfast. I was going to fly out from Luton and I was
Yeah, I'm
literally like
surprised you
looking at
didn't.
flights. I've just got a very busy week next week.
Oh, right. I forgot. Next week sucks.
Yeah. So
Is it
yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday that you have your conference?
Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm at a conference.
Oh,
But
then yeah, that's
small
fine.
business, I'm having to do all the printing. I've got to make t-shirts.
You're the only one who knows how to work Canva.
Yeah. I'm the only one who knows how to work a cricket.
It's true. I like I like that that's your job in the small business, and then your mom's job in the small business is driving you because you're not allowed.
Hmm.
Mm.
My mum's job is like the actual service that we offer.
Right, the
Yes.
business.
And the driving, and then everything else.
I mean, you are her executive assistant, to be honest.
I'm actually the office manager.
Office manager is a way better way to put
Mm.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have done that.
And Molly is the chief of marketing.
Chief marketing, yeah,
Yeah.
chief marketing officer. I had another one too. I don't remember them. Marketing works better.
I don't really like the word assistant because I don't want her to think that I'm her assistant.
No, no,
No.
that was why I immediately was like, oh yeah, no, we gotta.
Mm.
Did we did we fix our emotional problems? Because we promised that this one would be normal. And uh I feel catharsis.
Catharsis. Yeah.
I'm trying to think I'm trying to think if it does have a verb form. To cathart. Cathart it all over. That's a good one. It's gonna be another
Yeah.
screen grab. Folks, I need you to know how many times today Hattie frowned at me on camera. You'll be happier than ever that you only listen to this on audio. Folks, like we said, well, I won't do my folks yet. Hattie, do you have anything else? Otherwise, I'm gonna take us out.
If you want a say, just say no to dainty ladyballs, you can find them on my Redbubble.
Yes. Yes. Now designed in such a way that there is no question that it is not transphobic.
Mm.
We would like to admit at this time
That
something happened today.
I was outwoked by a straight white man.
Not just a straight white man, but one who annoyedly puts up with us every week. Folks, Hugh outwoked Hattie by asking, "Are you sure it's not a little bit transphobic?" So we fixed it.
No, that was what he said. Do you not think that it could be taken as transphobic?
Taken as transphobic.
Yeah.
No, that's true. Because we are no YSC, but we like to think that we are very close behind for like among the most pro-trans rugby outfits.
Well, having said that, also, if you don't follow me on my social media on the Rugby History Project,
which you really should.
You wouldn't know that a few hours before I had posted a post for Trans Plus History Week.
Actually, you know what? You're right, and I really wish that I had put this somewhere where people wouldn't have been tired of us by now and probably turned it off. It's one of my favorite pieces you've done. You've really been killing it lately, but this one particularly is really great. It doubles as a book review. Hattie's book reviews are always comprehensive, which is really fun. But you read
I don't like long book reviews. If people have never realized, I want to know in like 2 sentences max.
That's what I like about it. I mean, you also have very much grasped the infographic idea, like you're good at it, so that helps. But obviously there are a lot of things that make people not want to read sports book reviews. This one, I'm not going to read it because Hattie read it for me, but I totally would otherwise. What was the main
other
book?
Olympians?
Yes, the other Olympians. Do you want to give us a very quick? Oh well, or you can do that.
So this is the US cover. If you're watching, the UK cover is really ugly. But you can get the US cover in the UK. So basically, this book is about to
say the name and author for
the other Olympians. I said that already.
Right.
By Michael Waters.
We do sometimes consume media by men.
So this book is focused on late 1920s, 1930s sport history and about gender diverse athletes who primarily competed in the women's category, although it does talk about trans women as well. It really, really goes into the kind of historical context of trans intersex people and how they
giving a lot
over.
of really great early context.
Yeah, it's I've read a lot of queer history. I've read a lot of sports history. This is probably one of the best at explaining how that works. Also talks about fascism and the Nazis.
I was going to say, it seems like the intersectionality is really like actually good. You can be intersectional in all sorts of ways. This one is one that is, if you like this podcast, you probably like this intersection.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that there aren't actually that many. So there are trans sport books that have got history in them.
Yeah.
But
And that are more about
yeah, and there's trans history, but there aren't really
which
any
sometimes touches on sport, rarely does. Right.
But that's probably like the only one that is solely about that. So it is very interesting. And I would highly recommend it. Yeah.
Definitely check that out. It's especially poignant. It is the Trans Visibility Week. And even if
It's
isn't
Trans
still
plus History Week.
Oh, Trans plus History Week. My bad. It's not visibility anymore. You are always visible to me, trans people. What's up? With that, definitely go check that out on the Rugby History Project. Also, just check it out anyway. There's always great releases there. What's up?
I was going to say I'm nearly at 400 followers on Instagram.
Hey, that's actually pretty fantastic.
So I did have some people unfollow me today when I posted about trans things, and that was rude.
Yeah, we knew it would. It always does. I actually, I don't often. Instagram isn't one of my ones that I check that often. But I did repost it, and I am using it because I suspect one of my cousins is a transphobe, and I am using this to find out if she's watching my stories. So, with that said, thank you for not being transphobes to us and to our friends.
And if you are, go find another podcast.
Go find another podcast. There are 8 billion for you about rugby, and 2 or 3 of them even talk about women's rugby. Woke. So with that, we are going to be back with our regular content next week. As we said, Six Nations will be back. WER is ongoing. Be sure to check all of that out so you know what we are talking about. And as always, if you have questions or comments, drop them below or in any of our various social media. As always, thank you for joining us, and we really look forward to joining you next time, despite the size of our hands. See you later.
I've realised I'm the one who has to turn the recording off.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.